G'day, Troy Dean here, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step plan to get your agency to your first or your next 7 figures a year in recurring revenue. No BS. We've been doing this a long time. We've done it with thousands of agencies all over the world, and so there's 2 things I'm going to do in this video. One, I'm going to show you the 3 phases of growth that your agency is going to go through on that journey. I'm going to show you where you're going to get stuck and what the bottlenecks are that are going to keep you from getting to the next level. Then I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to break through to that next level. Then in the second part of this video, I'm just going to lay out the step-by-step plan from soup to nuts, as they say, and show you exactly what you need to do to get to your first or your next 7 figures in recurring revenue for your agency. I've done this myself, and we've mentored over 4,500 agencies from every part of the planet since 2011. We've worked with agencies in Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, the UK, Europe, Thailand, Vietnam, South Africa, agencies selling web design, SEO, PPC, AI services, video, content, branding, copy, funnels, YouTube growth, podcasts, whatever it is. If you're selling marketing related services to other businesses and you want to grow your agency without becoming the bottleneck, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but if at any point you're watching this video and it's all making sense and you're very excited about it, but you know that you just don't have time to do it and you want to just work with us to get this done and we'll install this for you in your business, then just go to Instagram, follow us at Agency Mavericks and send us a DM with the word Maverick and we'll get you the details on what it looks like to work with us. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, so these are the 3 typical phases of growth that an agency is going to go through and the milestones that you want to hit. Everyone starts at 0 and that's totally fine. The first milestone that you're going to hit is 30K a month. I'll come back to why that's an important milestone in a moment. And the second milestone is the magic number of 84,000 a month, or 83.33 recurring, which is $1 million a year in revenue, right? Now, we call this, if you're between 0 and 30K a month, we call it Cadet. If you are between 30 and 84K a month, we call it Pilot. And if you're north of $1 million a year in recurring revenue, we call that Top Gun. Now, what I want to do is just walk you through where you're going to get stuck in every part of this growth. So here, if you're at Cadet level, your role in the business is you are the product. People are hiring you to do a thing. They're hiring you to edit a video. They're hiring you to write an email. They're hiring you to build a website or send an email campaign or whatever the thing is, right? You are the product. People are hiring you based on their personal relationship with you. The problem with this is that you are the chief everything officer, right? And it's very common for people to burn out. In fact, most agencies just don't make it past this because they get burnt out. The biggest thing that's going to kill you in this phase, by the way, is scope creep. And that's because you're too scared to say no to things because you need the money, and clients have very high expectations and they take advantage of you, not maliciously, but they unwittingly take advantage of you because you're new, you don't have a lot of social proof, you don't have a lot of authority. The only way to break through here, by the way, is to hire some people and they end up doing tasks that you were doing, and that frees you up a little bit to then concentrate on the higher value activities in the business, like growing your pipeline, figuring out your product mix, figuring out your cash flow and your numbers, right? So that's the only way to break through there. Now, when you get into pilot mode, your role in the business is you become the glue. And the reason you're the glue is now you've got some team looking at you for decisions. They're too scared to make decisions without you because they don't want to lose their job. You don't trust them enough to make decisions because they haven't been around long enough and you're not sure they're going to make the same decision that you would make. And so everyone's looking at you and you become the conduit through which every decision needs to be made. You become the chief emergency officer. There are multiple emergencies a day and they all come to your desk to put those fires out. Clients want you to work on their campaign and their strategy. The biggest problem here is that it's really common for your profit to shrink. Your revenue will grow, but so will your expenses. You've got mouths to feed, you've invested in more software, you've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the business, you've got more infrastructure that you've built, more expenses, maybe you've moved into a different office and you've got more rent, you've got more equipment. So your revenue might grow, but it's very common for your profit to shrink here. And your team need to start making decisions, not just performing tasks, and that's the only way to break through there, okay? Now, once you reach Top Gun, you become the ceiling. You are literally now the cap on the growth of your agency. And that's because you first of all, you're extremely proud of the fact that you got to $1 million a year in revenue, and you should be, because something like 95% of small businesses are never going to make that volume. So well done. You're in the top 5%. But the problem is that pride also feeds into your ego, and you think that you just need to keep doing more of the same to continue the growth. And that just won't work. So you become the chief ego officer. You still want to make all the decisions. You still don't trust your team enough, right? The biggest problem that's going to kill you here is quality control at scale. How do we get the volume of work out the door at the quality that our clients are still expecting? And the job for you here is to get out of the way. And the only way you can break through here is to have your team responsible for outcomes, not decisions, not tasks. And you really need to get out of the way. So what I want you to do right now is I just want you to ask yourself, hey, are you at Cadet? Just identify, are you at Cadet? Are you at Pilot? Or are you at Top Gun? And what is the number one thing that is holding you back from taking your agency to the next level? And by the way, if you're already at 7 figures a year in revenue, congratulations. As I said, you're in the top 5 or 7%. You can just add this on to your current revenue level. So how do you get from 1 to 1.5, 1.5 to 2, and then 2 plus, right? Once you get to 3 or 4 mil a year in revenue, the whole game changes. Happy to have that conversation another time. But right now, I want to take you over to the iPad and show you the tactical things that you can do starting tomorrow to start to unlock these constraints so you can get your agency to the next level. Just before I bring the iPad up and walk you through this, I want to introduce you to some of our agency owners. This is Sean, who runs a 7-figure a year agency serving Shopify store owners. He's built a great business with a great team. When he started working with us, he was very heavy on project revenue. He's really embraced selling paid discovery and strategy on the front end, and that has resulted in a massive bump in his recurring revenue, and he's been able to build his team around that productized offering. And so now he's out of delivery altogether. His job now is to build the team, make sure they've got what they need to succeed. He's built a highly profitable business that does not rely on him clicking buttons and moving the mouse. Simon here runs an SEO agency, predominantly helping allied health professionals. He works about 2 to 3 hours a day in the business, and the rest of his time he's working on the business, on strategy and where he wants the business to go next. He was a 7-figure a year agency when he started with us. He's tripled his agency since working with us and now works 2 to 3 hours a day. Okay, so this is extremely possible and very doable. Mara is, the reason I'm introducing you to Mara is because she doesn't do any marketing services. She's a web design, web development agency. No SEO, no paid ads, no funnels, no content, doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. Builds websites, designs and develops websites, mainly for research organizations. Got a fully remote team, is winding back to working 4 days a week so she can spend more time traveling with her family and enjoying her lifestyle. So whatever you want to build, if you want to build an agency that is just a great lifestyle business, or you want to position your agency for exit, the point is that you need your agency to be able to run and deliver profit without it being reliant on you. You'll never sell the agency if it's reliant on you, and you'll never be able to take a holiday if the agency is reliant on you. So whatever your outcome, the process is the same, right? Let's get the agency working and delivering a profit without you being tied to the keyboard or the computer. All right, so let me just draw this out for you on the iPad, and hopefully this will help you visualize it and make sense. The outcomes that you want as an agency owner, obviously, is you want an abundance of money, because that's just going to help you do more things and it's going to give you more choices. But also you want time, because you want to divorce your income from your time. There's no point trading time for money because you're completely trapped. And the third thing that you want, which you might not even know yet, is that you want control. A lot of people think they want freedom. Freedom is an expression of control. You can't have freedom if you don't have control. And so what we know is the agency owners that we work with, they have an abundance of money, they have time, and they have control, which means they have choices about how they spend their time. So how do we achieve that? Well, the first thing you want to do is, if you want to grow your revenue and you want to grow your money, is that you've got to grow your sales, you've got to grow your revenue, you've got to grow your audience, you've got to grow your pipeline, you have to grow your client list, right? You've got to keep your agency in growth mode. I see a lot of agency owners spending time on automating things in Airtable and documenting beautiful SOPs in Notion, and they run out of customers. You have to keep your foot on the pedal to grow your agency, okay? The second thing that you want to do is you want to package what it is you do so that you're not selling bespoke services to everyone that walks in the door, because that's a very difficult business model to scale. I'll talk more about this in a moment as to actually how to do that. And then the last thing you want to do is scale. And when I say scale, I don't mean scaling to the moon or scaling to a team of 50. I mean scaling to whatever level you are comfortable with and whatever makes sense for you. The reason you need some kind of scale, I'll talk about this in a moment, is if you don't have scale in your business, you end up doing everything and it all lands on you. Okay, so what are the practical things that you can do in your agency to start growing the top line and growing the profit, to package up what it is you do so that you're not trading time for money, and to scale so that other people and software and robots can deliver the thing so that you've got some control? Well, because these are outcomes, right? Growing your agency, packaging up and scaling, they're all outcomes. You can't just come to work and say, today I'm going to grow my agency. What we like to do is we like to give you practical and tactical things that you can do every day, week and month in your agency that will end up resulting in these outcomes, okay? So I'm just going to color code these for a second so we know. Grow, package, and scale. All right, so let's talk about grow. The first thing you want to do in order to grow your agency is you just need more reach. And what that means is literally just getting in front of more people, okay? So your social media following, your email list, how many people do you have access to? Your personal network, whether it's physical networking events, how many people are in your digital Rolodex? Once you have reach, you need also to have influence over those people. And I am not talking about being an influencer. I have no interest in being an influencer. I get offered deals all the time to talk about brands on our YouTube channel and our podcast, and I turn them down. I'm not interested in being an influencer, but I am interested in having some influence over the people that know me so that when I suggest something, they take action. And the other thing you've got to do is, I'm sorry to say, but you've got to get good at sales. You just need to know how to present an offer to someone that makes sense to them, that they buy it. Because if you don't dial in and document your sales process, you're always going to be relying on word of mouth and referrals, and that makes you incredibly vulnerable. Because I have seen agencies from $0 to $4 million a year run out of referrals and go through a dry patch and panic because they've got massive payroll. So you have to get some control over your sales. Okay, once you, and I'll give you some more practical things to do in a moment. For example, the best way that I know to expand your reach, which by the way is a green activity here, the best way I know to expand your reach is just to build your email list, right? If you are not adding 50 to 100 people a week into your email list, that's just a massive opportunity that is sitting in front of you that you can dial in very quickly. So once you're growing your agency, you've got more reach, you've got more influence over those people, you've documented and processed your sales process, and you've optimized that so you've got predictable sales coming in. What you want to do then is package up what it is you sell. We call this productizing, or packaging up your intellectual property into products that your team can deliver. And there are 3 different types of products. The first one is what we call a fire starter. Fire starters are audit-based products like paid discovery or a web audit or an AI audit or an SEO audit. And all they do is they tell your client, hey, there's a fire over here and we need to do something about it. Keyword research, a great example of a fire starter. Here's a bunch of topics that we should go after. We're not going to do anything just yet. We're just going to show you an opportunity or show you the problem that needs to be solved. And you should be getting paid for fire starters. And here's a clue, paid discovery is the ultimate fire starter. The second type of product that you want to have is what we call an accelerator. And an accelerator fixes one thing. And I think this is where a lot of agencies get stuck, is they take on a client and they want to fix everything all at once. And just like eating a cardiac burger, right? It sounds like a great idea at the time, and you get halfway through and you realize you're going to have a heart attack because you've bitten off more than you can chew. It gets overwhelming very quickly. So an example of an accelerator is doing on-page optimization if you're talking about SEO, right? An example of an accelerator and a fire starter and accelerator in the ads world would be doing an audit of someone's Facebook account and then setting up a remarketing campaign. So the fire starter would be auditing their Facebook account, their Facebook ad account. The accelerator would be setting up a remarketing campaign because that's the fastest way to get them a quick win. Okay, it's just one product. It's one thing we do that gets them a result. It's not the sum total of everything we do. The sum total of everything we do is what we call your signature system. And that's where clients will pay you ongoing recurring revenue for you to manage all of the things that they need you to manage. So once you've grown your revenue, you've grown your audience, you've grown your influence, you've grown your sales pipeline, you've got packages that you're selling, you then need to scale. And we do that through obviously automating, right? Or AI. We do that through team, and we do that through playbooks, right? Documentation and SOPs. I will tell you this, the biggest mistake agency owners make is they are too slow to hire people because their processes aren't ready. I'll give you a clue. You should hire people based on ability, not availability, and you should get them to document their processes inside your agency and get them to build out your playbook. All right, that's the way it works. It's impossible for you to document all the processes before you hire people because there's one of you and there's multiple of them. Get them to document the processes. So what I want you to do now is just use the traffic light system and ask yourself a couple of questions, right? Hey, look, what is my reach like? Right? Just use the traffic light system, red, yellow, green. Green is, hey, we're killing it. Yellow is, we need to do some work. Red is, oh, I haven't even thought about that. It's a complete disaster. And just color code how you feel like you're tracking in the agency. So maybe your reach and your influence is good, and maybe your sales process is horrible. Maybe your automation is okay. Maybe your team is okay. Maybe your playbooks are completely absent. Maybe you don't have any fire starters. You feel like you've got some accelerators and you don't really have a signature system. So just color code each of these 9 areas so that you can identify what you need to start working on straight away. Now, by the way, behind every one of these things here, we have playbooks and checklists that we give our clients. And we also have a whole bunch of done for you services where we will just do the thing for you. So if at any point you know that you just want to get this installed in your business and this is making sense, but you don't have time to do it, you just want us to do it for you, as I said, go to Instagram, follow us at Agency Mavericks and DM us the word Maverick and we'll get you the details. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that if you don't focus on growing your agency, there's just no demand for your services. And eventually you're just going to hit the wall and run out of money. If you don't package up what it is you do, there's no leverage. A client services business is very difficult to scale because you're doing bespoke, custom services for everyone. It's very difficult. And if you don't scale at some point with team and automations, you've got no freedom because you're on the hook and you're doing everything, okay? This is how we take agencies from 0 to multiple 7 figures a year, and this is how we help them do it without the overwhelm. The idea is just to focus on 1 or 2 key pieces of the model every quarter and gradually dial it in. Going from 0 to $1 million a year is not a 6-month project. It's probably not a 12-month project. It might be a 2 or 3 year journey, and that's okay. Biggest problem we see is agency owners trying to do too much at once. They get overwhelmed, they get cooked, and then everything, all the plates that they're spinning fall to the ground and crash. So I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to hear where you're stuck in the agency. Leave us a comment below and let us know what you need to learn. If there's anything specific out of here that you want me to cover, let me know and I'll put it in a future video for us here on the YouTube channel. All right, hope you're having as much fun as we are. I'm Troy Dean. Let's get to work.